Hello, you guys on the late night. I hope that my sound is okay, and I'm going to try not to move around too much because I know when I start kind of wiggling around and going places and walking around the house that affects how well you guys can hear me. And if my mic gets muffled, sometimes I put my hand on it and all that jazz. But I'm not going to stay up here too long. At least it's not my intent to stay up here too long. But I wanted to just discuss um, what's being talked about throughout YouTube and the news. And I want to discuss it from just a very different angle. So give me a sec, and I want to do that with you. So there's a lot of discussion surrounding, and I've already talked about this here on this channel. Because we got a little bit deep, I did have to, make that private and members only, but there's been a lot of discussion surrounding what happened at the Capitol. And this discussion has kind of morphed into um, dragging the Black community into this, which, if you guys were here for my last talk on this, I don't think we should be involved in this collectively. But it's interesting to me because here's the thing, right? There are a group of people who feel the government has gotten out of control, and they went down to the Capitol, even though they were very stupid about it. It's more of a comedy. They went there to assert that they have control over the government and not the other way around, which is a valid point. Now, Black people really have no dog, right? Because any revolutionary action that we engage in really has to be about repositioning our status in society. But in order to get Black people on the bandwagon of this white on white fight, they have started to attach us to the situation. So now, what has become a topic of conversation, interestingly enough, wait, I'm going in and out. You guys cannot hear me? Okay, wait, can you guys not hear me? Hold on one second. All right, are you guys able to hear me better now? Or am I still going in and out? Okay, so in order to get Black people invested and also to weaponize us, because there's two things going on here. Number one, they want Black people invested in this white on white battle for power. Number two, they want to use us to manipulate the masses to pick a side in this white on white battle for power. And what is crazy to me is in all of the discussions that I hear about, Black women being married to Proud Boys and, if the people that went to the Capitol are racist and, Trump and all of these discussions, what is really interesting to me is that we don't recognize that this is all a manipulation. Nobody's talking about that. This is all a manipulation. It really, really is. Look, let's start with the most salacious topic, which is these Black women being married to Proud Boys. First and foremost, nobody cares who these random Black women are married to. Like in real life, it doesn't matter. People marry crappy people all the time. The reason this is being brought up is because it's to establish that the Proud Boys is a racist organization. But the government is a racist organization. So again, this is another moot point. The real issue is that there are two factions of white people who are in a struggle for power in this country. Both factions are crawling with racists. There is the current political establishment, and there is an insurrection of civilians who are in a battle for who is going to run the country. Now, the powers that be, the global powers that be, have chosen Biden. He's controllable. He's not going to cause any problems. That's who they have chosen. The white men have chosen Trump. And these two factions are getting into a fight with each other. And this fight has nothing to do with Black people, other than who's going to make our laws and throw us into jail next, right? This has nothing to do with us. But they are trying to get us invested in this battle for power between white people. They're trying to get us invested by calling racist to one side, by trying to make examples of certain people from our community, men who are a part of the Proud Boys and women who are married to Proud Boys. And it's amazing how easily our community is moved to care one way or the other with these simple manipulation tactics. And that's why the thumbnail for this video said one trick pony. Because anytime they want Black people to jump, anytime they want Black people to get up in arms and invested, anytime they want to cause our community to have a discussion, all they have to do is say that somebody is a racist. It is literally getting on my nerves. Like, we cannot be this simple-minded collectively, y'all. Every time they want us to get involved in something that has nothing to do with us, every time they want to justify some random action they're going to take, you have established political power scared to death of a white revolution. So what do? Get the Black people invested. Everybody's kind of, pretending to care about Black people right now. If we just start calling people racist as if they're not racist too. I mean, let's not leave that part out. All of these people are racist. I mean, pointing at a group of white people struggling for power and calling them racist is like calling the sun bright. You know what I'm saying? We know the sun is bright. We know the sun is hot. We know that any large group of white men that get together and start struggling for power is crawling with racists. History has proven this. So we're not learning any new information here. So then my question is, why are we all over social media so invested in this? Why is it that we are so easily manipulated into being invested in something that is irrelevant? Why do we keep letting our oppression and our skin color and the brutality that has happened against us continuously be weaponized by white people for their own purposes? Am I the only one who is severely bothered by this? We keep allowing them to weaponize us for their purposes. Do you hear what I'm saying? They don't want to have a white male revolution. They don't want to be dragged out of the Capitol building. They don't want to lose their power. So then they weaponize Blackness to help them keep power. Y'all, this is ridiculous. It is an outrage. And we're worried about what some random Black men, if they join the Proud Boys and if some Black chick is married to a Proud Boy. I don't care about that. What I care about is that they keep, like, the only people who are not capable of weaponizing Blackness, strangely, are Black people. Have you ever noticed that? If we do it, it's identity politics. When they do it, it's to avoid a literal revolution in this country. They are literally weaponizing Blackness and our oppression to prevent themselves from being overthrown. Do y'all recognize that? I'm not the only person that recognizes this, right? Do you see that this is what's going on? Or are we just worried about what Black men joined the Proud Boys and what Black women married a Proud Boy? Are we so based that we're really focused on that and we don't see the bigger picture, which is the weaponization of us to prevent themselves from being overthrown by their own people? Like, I can't do this. I can't. It's so frustrating to watch. Because you guys know I don't do trending topics. That's not really my vibe. Like, I'll grab a political topic here and there. I typically talk about what I want to talk about. So I don't want to make this live about, like I said, what black people join the Proud Boys, or if the Proud Boys are this and that, if they're racist, or, what black women married a Proud Boy. I don't want to make this live about that. I want to make this live about us stopping our base level thinking. I want us to stop being simple minded. There is the potential of a civil war. These people, as goofy as they were in their Viking clothing and all their stupidity, at the end of the day, they still entered into the Capitol building to pull out officials. The status quo does not want to be overthrown. They are just as racist as the people who stormed the Capitol, but they don't want to lose their power. And all they had to do to get all of Black Twitter, Black Facebook, Black YouTube, Black Instagram, I don't know all the social media platforms, all they had to do to get us all invested in helping them not be overthrown, which I'm trying to understand, when did Black people start to aid and abet a system that heavily oppresses them from being overthrown? Help me understand. When did we get on the bandwagon of just not letting the system crumble? This is, how sad this is? Not only will we not actually engage in revolution, not only collectively will Black people not engage in socio-political revolution, we are trying to prevent other people from overthrowing the system. Y'all, this is some house Negro behavior if I have ever seen it. So you mean to tell me we're not going to have a revolution that is self-started, and we're also going to aid and abet somebody else not overthrowing this system? This is where we are in 2021? Are we that downtrodden and simple? The very system that has the highest incarceration rates in the world, most of them Black men, we're going to aid and abet this system not being overthrown by their own people? All because somebody said the Proud Boys were racist? The system is racist. The system is racist. There's never been a group of white men to get together to struggle for power who were not racist. So there's no news here. What I want to know is, why are we helping? Why are we on board with them not overthrowing their own system? Tell me. When somebody offers to do the work for you, why do you step in and say, oh, nope, 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 nope? Actually, I like the status quo. Could you leave these people alone? Who does that? They just have to wave around somebody doesn't like Black people and we're all just jumping on board for this. I'm so lost and confused. We are more concerned about what a handful of random Black people did to associate themselves with the Proud Boys than we are about the fact that our entire community has been weaponized to prevent the overthrowing of a system that is heavily unjust towards us. We are more concerned about what some random Black chick did with her womb, or what some random Black dude who he marched with, that we don't recognize that we are actually aiding and abetting and maintaining the status quo that doesn't give a damn about you. Yeah, the blind leading the blind. That's why we're in a ditch right now. This is why we are in a ditch right now. I need our people to like wake up. Wake up. When I took my poll, a lot of people were like, yeah, arrest all the ones who broke the law. Why? Why? Why would you want people who are going to do what you're not willing to do arrested? Help me understand it. So is this what we're about? Because maybe I don't know what we're about. Are we about maintaining the status quo? All they have to do is point out that these people are racist, as if this is something unique that we've never encountered. And now all of a sudden we want to be the protectors of the very system that oppresses us? In what world does that make sense? So, no, I don't want to talk about the fact that some black chick married a Proud Boy and had babies. I don't want to talk about the black men who joined the Proud Boys and marched with them. These are very stupid conversations to me. I want to talk about why it is that we are trying to help usurp and openly support on social media not having somebody overthrow a system that needs to be overthrown because we don't like the fact that they're a racist. Last time I checked, the system was racist too. If these people want to infight, why don't we? We can't, y'all. Okay. This mess is starting to give me a headache. This is very frustrating. We don't want to have a revolution. We will not start a revolution. Then, when the white men get together and start beefing with each other, we want to jump in the mix and see them punished for daring to try to overthrow the very system that is the source of our oppression. Make it all make sense. Make it all make sense to me. Help me to understand where we are collectively as a community. Why isn't this the bigger discussion? Why isn't the bigger discussion about if you don't let these people overthrow this system and fall back? I mean, if you don't want to fight, at least somebody's doing something. Why are you so invested in maintaining a system that is proven that it does not care about you? Who is the criminal? Tell me who the criminal is. Is the system the criminal, or are the people trying to overthrow the system the criminal? I'm going to tell you something. As you don't, I mean, we don't want to do anything anyway. We're not trying to have a revolution. We're not trying to overthrow anything. But strangely, we don't want to watch anybody else do it either. We don't even recognize this is what is so pathetic to me. Collectively, we don't even recognize that a civil war that these people have amongst themselves gives us room to breathe and make some decisions without the onus of the battle being solely squared on our shoulders. We aren't even critical thinking as a collective enough to comprehend that. We would rather be on social media dragging the Proud Boys and being excited about them going to jail. Why would you be excited about a bunch of people who are trying to start a civil war in a system that oppresses you? Why would you be excited about them going to jail? Let me guess. Because they're racist, right? Because they're racist. Just like the system that they're trying to overthrow is racist. Do you see the logic, how it is so circular and it doesn't make sense? It just doesn't make sense. Little to no sense. One group of racists is in jail, the other group is running the Capitol, just running amok. This is what this is what we're in support of. Again, I'm not going to stay on here because really there's nothing I have to say past this. I just think it is time, it is time, it is high time that we rethink our approach to this situation and that we stop being so easily manipulated. I mean, the Black community, we are played like a fiddle all the time. I mean, an actual fiddle. All you have to do is slap a Black face on something and or call racism, and we just fall right in a line and do whatever anybody wants us to do. It's like we can't even think straight. It's like we cannot even put together a cohesive collective thought. If one of those two elements are present, a Black face or a cry of racism, we just take complete leave of our senses. Like, honestly and truly, we have to do better. So many opportunities over the past year have passed us by because we aren't capable of simply doing better with our thought process. All we do is everything everybody else wants us to do. Honestly, that's all we do. To the point that we are literally sitting here as a collective protecting the very system that hates us. All they had to do was say that the Proud Boys were racist. And we were like, protect the system, arrest the bad guys. It's like everybody's racist. Why would you opt to protect the system? Why would you promote this? It's like we have Stockholm syndrome as a collective to the point where we can no longer critically think about anything. Literally, they have flipped the script on us so much. Like, the real story is somebody's trying to overthrow the government. That's the real story, right? That's the real news headline. Somehow they have deflected and maneuvered to the point that we forgot that the real story is somebody is trying to overthrow this corrupt system. And now we are obsessed with the fact that there were racists at the Capitol building. Like, it's a whole different story now. It's not even about overthrowing the government anymore. It's about racists being at the Capitol building. It's about you. It's not about them getting overthrown anymore. It's now about you, Black people. How did that happen? How did that bait and switch happen? Isn't it clever how every time the system needs to protect itself, all of a sudden racism toward you becomes so important? It's funny how that works. And it's funny how we keep falling for it hook, line, and sinker every time. I mean, they don't need to get any other tricks up their sleeves because this one trick pony show that goes on, we just fall for it every time. It's literally the definition of insanity. It is literally the definition of insanity. But what is crazy is that we are aiding and abetting in this because they can have their news organizations and their newspapers and whatever say anything that they want. But it's when Black people start to open up their mouths to perpetuate this bait and switch that it really becomes crazy. When Black people en masse are all over social media helping this bait and switch go off. just wholly not thinking. This is very concerning to me because it's always been concerning to me that we don't have the fire in our bellies to embrace socio-political revolution. But honestly, this is probably the closest thing to a revolutionary action, like a real revolutionary action. Like I said, despite the fact that they were very stupid and goofy when they went to the Capitol building, they still got up in there. They still were hiding Congress, right? It's crazy to me that not only do we lack the aptitude to see the value of socio-political revolution, not only do we not have the spine to engage in socio-political revolution, but then when somebody else tries to do it, then we don't want them to do it either. Like, I am literally blown away at this situation. I am blown. I cannot believe it. So why don't we just all agree here? We love the system. We love how things are going. Why don't we just stop whining and complaining? I just need Black people. Let's not whine and complain about anything anymore. Because you don't want to do it. You don't want anybody else to do it. You're all over social media as a collective. You know, we're just on social media. Oh, this is an atrocity. Oh, lock them all up. Oh, like it's just like, oh, they're racist. It's like, so basically you want things to stay the way they are, right? You don't even want two groups of racist people to fight each other. You don't want anything to upset this whole parade that we're in, right? Like, it's really bad when we won't just let racist people fight other racist people and recognize that that is an opportunity for us to gather our troops together while they're fighting each other and do a little something something. It's bad enough that we don't want to do anything. It's even worse when we don't even want racists to fight each other. This is literally like Django Unchained. When Samuel L. Jackson, when his master got shot, he just ran over there and fell and started crying and acting a fool. This is literally how we're acting as a collective. It's disgusting to watch. I've never seen something so repulsive. I have never seen something so repulsive as Black people wanting to protect a system that hates them. I am disgusted. Like, honestly, we should all be disgusted by this. We should ostracize every single Black person that does anything that even remotely resembles protecting the system. We should ostracize every Black person who would rather talk about what Black people joined the Proud Boys or what Black woman married a Proud Boy instead of wanting to discuss the fact that they're trying to make them being overthrown by their own people our problem. We should redirect that conversation every time it comes up on social media. This is not about the random Black chick that married a Proud Boy. This is not about the 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 Black dudes that joined the Proud Boy. It's not about that. It's about the fact that their system was about to be overthrown by them, and they are trying to use us to prevent their system from being overthrown. And some of our people are just dumb enough to help them save themselves. No, no, let their ship sink. Let it sink. Let it go up in flames. Let it go up in flames. No more bait and switching. We let the bait and switch go down every single time. Like, this has to stop. It has to stop, y'all. We have to stop this. We're way too easily manipulated. Way, way, way too easily manipulated. We're way too easily brought into this mess. We're too invested. If they want to put on Viking costumes and take selfies and storm the Capitol, great. I hope you guys got your hands full dealing with their foolery. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to make it about racism against Black people. I don't care how many of the Proud Boys are racist, quite frankly. Like I said, the whole system is racist. It's nothing to me if a bunch of racists get together and tear each other's stuff up. And if there are a few black people that want to be involved in their fight, then let them go and be the minority. Why are we all invested in all this? Since when did we get invested in that? When did it become an atrocity for racists to fight each other? I'm trying to understand. When did that become a problem for us? Isn't it everything we could have ever hoped for? If they're internally beefing, that is everything we could have ever hoped for. I really just don't know how it could become a better thing. These white people have been running all over the country, tearing stuff up for months, for like 8 months straight. Now they've stormed their own Capitol building. This is amazing. We should be sitting back with a bucket of popcorn, having conversations about strategy. I'm confused as to why we're doing anything else. I'm confused as to why anybody cares if the Proud Boys are racist or not. Why do we care? What does it matter? How does that affect us? It doesn't. A group of racist white people. We've seen that before. This is not new. Our whole government is racist. So why are we protecting the system? Why are we Samuel L. Jackson and Django Unchained just crying over Massa and trying to revive him? If you don't let that fool die on the parlor floor and keep it trucking, our government is in trouble. No, the government is supposed to listen to the people. If the government is in trouble, I'm the people. It doesn't have anything to do with me. If the government has overstepped and they get removed, then they overstepped and they get removed. Heck, even if you wanted to be invested in this system, even if you wanted to be invested in this mess, you should know that you can remove your own government. They are not in charge. But a lot of you guys think that they are. A lot of you guys think that the government is in charge of us versus it being the other way. So it's just confusion across the board. Don't want to have a socio-political revolution, but at the same time, you guys don't even know how the system is supposed to work. It's like, goodness sakes. Heck, if we're not going to have a revolution, can we at least be up on exactly how the system is supposed to run? Something, anything that makes sense. I'm just asking for anything that makes sense out of our community, because this is a very messy thing that we're involved in here. We are not starting off 2020 on the best foot. 2021 or 2020. 2021 ought to be the year of us getting our minds right. Because this is like delusion 3.0 right now. And I cannot with it. So this is some food for thought. I know that you guys, move around these social media streets and things like that. And I really encourage all of you to redirect the question to the place that makes sense when you see these conversations coming up, and not getting caught into the minutia and the ridiculousness of who's sleeping with who and who marched with who, and who's racist and who's not. Like, these are not the things that matter. The things that matter are that we can't even assess a situation in a way that makes any logical sense to our position in society. That is the most pressing issue. That is the most that is the biggest takeaway from this Capitol Hill situation. The biggest takeaway is that we collectively are incapable of processing and assessing situations and information in a way that is advantageous to us or even remotely makes sense. And that we continuously allow our oppression in the system to be manipulated to protect the very system that oppresses us. This should not be so. We should not have a part in that. And so, as we enter into these conversations, it would behoove us who recognize that to redirect other people to help them comprehend the thing that they clearly don't understand. And also recognize an agent when you see one, because, there's a little something called divide and conquer. And this is just a side note, and then I have to get out of here. There's a little something called divide and conquer. And right now, there are a lot of people on social media who make a lot of money getting you to fixate on not being unified because their people are already trying to overthrow them. So they certainly don't want us all cooperating and doing anything that makes sense. So as we pad the pockets of these people who are knowing or unknowing agents, let's just keep in mind that the best thing that ever happened to a system that doesn't want to be overthrown is for the peons in society to be infighting. To be infighting. The best thing that ever happened to a corrupt system that is causing all the problems is for the peons to be fighting over breadcrumbs and who pushed who, when at the end of the day, the person that holds the puppet strings is not held accountable. But see, we don't like functional conversations that make sense. We like dysfunctional conversations that prevent us from having to engage in action that makes us accountable or uncomfortable. We don't like conversations that are not entertaining. We want to be entertained. We want to hear people talk trash to each other. We want, you know what I mean? We want a clown show. That's all we want is a clown show or a pity party or somebody telling you that there's nothing wrong with you. That's how there's people on YouTube, and that's how they're making their money. They're making their money by basically putting on beefs where they just talk trash to each other. They're making money having channels that tell you that it's all somebody else's problem. It's not your problem. It's the Black man's problem. It's the Black woman's problem. It's all somebody else. You're perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. The only thing wrong with you is that you don't know how not to deal with them. There's people on YouTube making money playing divide and conquer. And all that it does is ensure the protection of the status quo. Because a bunch of people who won't talk to each other, a bunch of people who are constantly fighting, a bunch of people who don't think they're the problem will never get together and upset the status quo. And so we watch the train pass us by. It's strange, though, the one thing we could come together on was protecting the system. Isn't that cute how that works? We can't come together on nothing else. But when it came time to come together to protect Capitol Hill, to protect the system, oh, we all knew how to get on the same page for that, didn't we? It's funny how that works. We all know how to get on the same page for that, but we can't get on the page for anything else that matters because we don't want anything that challenges our intellect. We don't want anything that challenges our social standing. We don't want anything that challenges us to step out of our comfort zone. We literally just want to be a part of a clown show, pity party, or divisive movement. So as we're all, myself included, checking all of these pages and social media platforms throughout the various platforms that we like to frequent, I just want you to ask yourself, does it pander to you not being wrong and something being everybody else's problem? Is it a clown show where all people do is fight and play jester all day? Or is it a pity party? Because that's what we're into, which is exactly why it is very possible until I had this conversation today, nobody had had a discussion about this Capitol Hill situation that came from this angle, because that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're around for. That's not what we're interested in, because that would be too much like right. So for those of you who arrived late, feel free to rewind this while I still have it public and listen to it. And then we can all reevaluate how we're moving in these spaces, because right now we're moving real stupidly as a collective. We look dumb out here. And you know that Black people, we're treated as a monolith. So when some of us look dumb, we all look dumb. So it's going to be for us to start, reaching out to people so we could all be on the same level. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not trying to degrade my intellect and degrade where I am on my path to dip down for anybody else. So we're going to need to start pulling people up, pulling people towards us, and redirecting stupid conversations. There should always be at least one or two intelligent people in the room who can redirect a conversation of stupid people who are doing stupid, unproductive things. And I don't know why we're so attracted to fakeness, why we're so attracted to these snake oil salesmen, why we're so attracted to these people. It is disgusting. It's almost like we want game ran on us. Like our vibe is run the game. That is really what I want. I want to be in a delusion. And while we're floating around in our delusional state, the system has weaponized us to protect themselves from being overthrown. So I just think that this is a very messy situation that we're entering 2021 in, and that we really need to reevaluate how we move as people. Right, Thomas Anderson. Like Mister's always saying, if white people catch a cold, Black people are going to get the flu. This is all well and good while Trump is a racist and you don't like him and these people are racist. This is all well and good for you to cape for the system. It's all well and good for you to cape for these rich Jewish people, for these rich white people. It's all well and good for you to cape for these people because you don't like anybody racist. It's all well and good for you to do that. Oh my gosh, I just realized my marble coaster is chipped. I'm irritated. Look, it's all well and good until it comes down the pipeline and then it's you. It's all well and good until the conversation that we're having now cannot be had. We are too busy trying to protect the status quo. We are too busy being manipulated by the simple mention of racism, as if we don't walk through a world that is heavily racist every day. Every time we hear racism, we should be like, pass the butter. What else is new? What else is new under the sun? I already knew that. Racism should no longer move you to pick a side because all sides are equally racist. It should move you to collectivize and strategize in ways that make sense. Let me get off of this rant. Let me get completely off of this rant, you guys. Look, This whole situation with the Proud Boys, etc., this whole situation has been manipulated to make it like it is about racism and Black people, and it's not. It's about self-preservation of the status quo. And I just think we all should remember what the status quo has done to our people and tread very lightly with how we move around these internet spaces, allowing ourselves to be triggered simply because we see somebody that looks like a hick white person and somebody slaps the word racist on them. Because at the end of the day, even if they are racist, it will not change the fact that this whole system is corrupt and needs to be dealt with. So you should have no more heat for the Proud Boys than you have for the government. Okay? If anything, you better give them equal energy. And it will behoove us to remember that the government is not in charge of us. We are in charge of them. The government is not here to dictate to us. We are here to dictate to them what they ought to be doing. And honestly, our government is running wholly amok. So why we are out here running around trying to protect a system that has never protected us without there being an advantage to themselves. From Lincoln on down, remember Lincoln said he wished he didn't have to free any slaves to settle their beef with the South. So if old Honest Abe was a racist who would have kept everybody in slavery if he could, right up to the current establishment, I just don't really know what we're protecting. I don't know what we're siding with, but I do know we're such puppets that all somebody has to say is white and racist, and then we just do whatever it is they want us to do. We can't critically think or analyze anything. This is a problem. This is a problem. When the government can turn somebody trying to overthrow them into something about racism against us, then we have a problem. Okay? That is just ridiculous. Oh, my volume changed? That's okay, because I'm about to get out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. It's food for thought. This live will not stay up long. It's probably going to go to my members page. So listen to it while you can. I'll talk to you guys later.